I wanted to make this video because, I just did a whole bunch of shit and now I just want to relax just for about, 15, 30 minutes. And, I just been thinking about how much I've grown and just in general since I've been alive. And, you know, when I was younger, I had a really good childhood. I have really supporting parents, and, I've always been a very bright person. But as I got older, I, uh, I just went down a really dark path that for a very bright and happy person just doesn't seem very realistic. I don't know. All I can remember is ever since middle school, I got bullied really badly. And I don't know, just kids are just fucking mean. Adults are fucking mean. And, just through the experience of people taking advantage of me, it's just made me learn a lot. Like, for example, people knew since I was really nice and I would try to pick stuff up when somebody drops it, people would purposely drop their pencil over and over and expect me to hold the door for them, and and it just got worse as I got older. When I reached high school, I got manipulated a lot, and I just got, I just everything that I enjoyed and had a big passion for, even my friends at the time, they just thought it was stupid. And over time, by the time I got to my adult life and my job, it just hurt even more because it was even worse than in high school, middle school, and just, I don't know. I've always been in a toxic environment, but once I graduated high school, it was just the most overwhelming experience because people just bullied me to the point where they made me think I had a mental disability. And I don't know, maybe I do have something. I don't seem like the most normal person, but over time I just started to believe it and embrace it. I often thought that I had autism, and I don't know. I eventually thought I had schizophrenia because how much stress I was going under. I was getting so stressed out that I was getting schizophrenia symptoms, and it honestly just kind of ruined me as a person. And it took me until about a month or two ago to finally stick up for myself. My brother got diagnosed with cancer. He has stage 4 cancer, and me and my mom decided to visit him because honestly, he's not in the best shape right now, but we thought he was at death's door because it's very hard to get through to him, especially when you're lethargic all the time. It's very hard to keep up with your family. And even before, my brother was very distant, and I just didn't know how to react, to be honest. I've lost 2 other brothers in the past, and it's just, if I'm being honest, it was not very surprising news to me that my last brother that's alive is very sick and things are not looking the best. And even now, I honestly feel awful that I don't know how to react because I don't know, it just takes a lot for me to process this kind of thing. Anyways, we went to visit him, and honestly, I think that was probably the best experience I've ever had in my life because I've never had time to figure out my problems. I've always been a late bloomer growing up, so it took me a while to realize that my feelings are actually valid. And my mom is handicapped as well, so it's very hard to have a minute of time to myself because my mom always needs something. And not that I have a problem with it, I love helping my mom, but when you have as much anxiety and stress as I was dealing with at the time, it was very hard to have an understanding relationship because I didn't have understanding for myself. So I'm 22 now, and when I visited my brother about a couple months ago, I was just chilling there for a while because I told my mom to go home after 2 weeks because her legs were not doing good, and I was in her room for about 2 weeks in pure darkness. There was no windows. I went out every once in a while, but every time I went out, it was pure darkness. And that was probably the best thing I've ever experienced in my life, because I never had that time to myself. And the more I sat and thought and, got to know my problems, it made me realize, like, wow, I'm actually a normal person, and these people have been bringing me down for years. And it just kind of made me feel like I didn't live up to my potential when I was younger. I've always had, even though I find it very strange, and I kind of take it as a compliment in a way. I know it sounds weird, but I've always had a hard time getting girls. I think I've always been too nice, and I think it doesn't help that I look like I'm 16 years old. And, I've always just wondered why just people walked all over me, until I realized I don't have to put on a fake smile. I don't have to act a certain way for certain people. I can be whoever I want to be. I can embrace my emotions, and I can, I can live my life how I want to. And my brother taught me that. After a while, he realized I was going home. Like I said, he was feeling really tired. He just wasn't up to it, and he was doing his own thing, and I can respect that. I'm not upset at all for the fact that he was doing his own thing while I was there. But I finally got to hang out with them, and we just kept pranking people. We kept fucking around, and I think my favorite part being out there with my brother is like 2 or 3 things. We went down to get a new card, and he's like, okay, we're gonna go down and we're gonna put these cheese packets I stole into the card discard pile, because he was staying in a hotel, and I didn't realize I had to keep distracting them. But he's like, hey Ben, do you need a card? And I was like, no. He's like, fuck. Afterwards, he's like, I didn't finish putting everything in there into the card discard pile. And I just wish I could have saw their reaction. I think my other favorite part was the fact that when we walked to the gas station, there was this guy. He was a complete NPC. I glanced at his car for just a second. He woke up in a jolt, turned on his car and his headlights, and sped out the parking lot. And I was like, what the fuck? I think the man was on the run. And, now that I got back, I went back to my job. They made it very impossible for me to come back. And they were really bringing me down, They were making up stories that for context, I was a veterinary assistant at Banfield, and they constantly just brought me down. They made it seem like I was putting the animals' lives in danger, and they were, it was just not a very good environment. And I was really good at my job, to the point where I was actually teaching vet students how to do stuff. I taught the last 4 employees how to do their job. Like, I was doing great. They refused to let me work with doctors, even though I worked longer than more than 70% of the people there. And one day they sat me down, and they confronted me about this shit. And this is something I've never done in my life. There's something I've never done in my life, but I stuck up for myself, and I was just like calling them out on their bullshit. I was like, you guys are gonna write me up for X and Y, even though this is not true, and you're making shit up about me, and you're just making up lies. And afterwards, even though they were cutting my hours severely and I was having a hard time managing my life, they're like, you're gonna have to go home early. So I slammed the door, and then I yelled in the back, fuck this company, because I've just never been so frustrated in my life. I don't recommend anybody doing that, but I bottled so much emotions inside because I was dealing with all this toxicity for all this time, and I was just playing along with it, thinking there was something wrong with me. And after realizing there's nothing wrong with me and these people were treating me this way, it just broke my heart. It just made me feel like less of a person, not even a person at all. It just really hurt my feelings. And so afterwards, I called HR and I told everything, and that was a whole fucking process. But I think a miracle happened, because afterwards I got a call and I was told they were looking for a position to do food prep at the zoo. And they said it gets your foot in the door to possibly be a zookeeper. After doing all that and sticking up for myself, I just found it as a gift from life, And by the time I dealt with all this, I finally quit my job. I didn't even give my 2 weeks notice. I just went here so I can get my full hours and, not deal with any of that anymore. And ever since I've been here, it's just, my life has changed in such a positive way. I didn't realize that people could be so genuine, because people walk in here and they just have conversations with me, and they try to get to know me, and they try to lift me up, and I try to lift people up too. And people will say I'm doing a good job here, and it's just like, and now I'm a fast learner, and that's just something I've never experienced before. And I find it very interesting that an environment change can do so much to you. And I think I'm still very weird in some ways, and I embrace that, and I'm very thankful for all the experiences I've went through, because I'm a musician myself, and I love music. I think all the experiences I went through has made me such a great writer, which has made me so thankful for those experiences, because it made me look at the world differently in a way that I didn't think I could see it, now that I'm in a good environment and I can acknowledge all of that. So it's just, I think it's a beautiful thing that life can change in such a positive manner. Life can bring you down and life can bring you up, and you have control of what you want in your life and who you want in your life. And I think that's very important. I think a good example is when my project was a band. Now I'm solo, but just, I constantly got brought down, every time I got, something I was interested in, and they're like, no, that's stupid. So by the time other people liked it, they're like, wow, that was great material. And I'm just like, oh, you guys didn't seem to care before. And now people are just treating me with just love. Nothing but love, nothing but just pure niceness around, pure joy. I guess that's the word for it, because my energy has never been so high and loving. I'm just happy to be alive and be the person I am today. And I know I'm probably going on a tangent now. It's just something I'm very thankful for, and not many people realize that you could actually just be yourself and not give a shit about anything, and people will love you for it. And vice versa. Not everybody's gonna love you, and not everybody is gonna hate you, but you gotta treasure those people that actually care about you. And if you don't have anybody right now that you feel like cares about you, they'll eventually come. You gotta just be patient. Even in high school, when all my friends left me, when I was feeling suicidal, I met the best people I've ever met in my life. I call them and talk to them, hang out with them all the fucking time. Not as much now that we're older. We still get together on the holidays, and we still get together at least once or twice a month. But I think it's kind of beautiful having a connection with a person or a group of people, and you can just be yourself. Because if you're not being yourself around the people you care about, those people are not for you. You shouldn't have to put out this character or this ego just to make a point and fit in. That is not love. Love is acceptance, no matter how bad and how good something is. Love is what brings people together, not apart. Those people that abandon you, leave you, and just, leave you hanging. I've had almost all my girlfriends have abandoned me, and I think it's left a mark on me. And now that I'm older and I'm more mature, I realize this is the first time in my life I do not want a girlfriend until I meet the right person, because I've went through all this bullshit, and I feel like it's important for other people to acknowledge that people's red flags, because your sanity and your well-being matters, and having a good environment is very important to have, because you should be happy no matter what. Even when something goes wrong, you deserve having that shoulder to cry on and having that support system. So I guess I got my point across. I just wanted to start making videos of my thoughts and my my opinions. And I know probably not everybody's gonna enjoy this, but I think it's a therapeutic thing. I believe in journaling and talking about stuff, but I have a lot of respect for people that can just talk and have a conversation with the camera or something, But that's about it. Much love.